It is Teleforum, and it's a big Teleforum day. I always look forward to when I get to see Dale. Teleforum this morning, the first hour, Dale Reckless of MRS Physical Therapy is my guest. And if you have the technological capability, you should probably go, wow, we're going to do stupid human tricks. You're going to have me doing stuff today, aren't you?
It's going to be a fun day for sure, Eddie. Yeah.
That's every gym teacher ever. We running today? Oh, you'll have a good day. All right. Dale Reckless is with MRS Physical Therapy. It is Teleforum on Beaver County Radio. Before we get into what we're talking about, because what we're talking about is important, because we're talking about fall risk with fall coming up.
That's right.
Let everybody know how to get a hold of you when after you say something, they go, oh, I got that.
Great. Yeah, we have two clinics, one in Bridgewater, and that's right in the heart of Bridgewater in Stone Point Landing. Mm-hmm. And the number to get a hold of us there is 724-728-7550. And the other office is in Cranberry Township on Route 19, right next to North Park Lounge, and that number is 724-591-8121, and it will be important for you guys because there is going to be a free offer today we're going to throw out when we talk about being National Fall Risk Awareness Week this week, with tomorrow being the first day of fall. It's National Fall Risk Day that they collaborate with the first day of fall tomorrow.
Is this becoming more important every year as we age as a population?
It is. The number of falls increases every year. 1 in 4 adults fall every year, mm-hmm. and it changes with your age. So actually our balance changes at the age of 40. Between the ages of 40 and 50, we start to notice balance changes.
Why? I mean, what's the change that occurs that starts to affect us?
Everything
like that?
Slows down, right? So
as we age, we've worn stuff out, parts of our body start to slow down. Most of us recognize some of the obvious things, like all of a sudden you have to start to wear glasses to see things. Yeah. You can't read as well, so you realize your vision slows down, so you put some glasses on. But what happens in your vision and your eyes also can affect your balance. Your vestibular system, which is in your inner ear, slows down as well, and your vestibular system has a lot to do with your balance and your coordination. And then you start to lose strength, you'll start to lose muscle mass, and your sensation and your proprioception, which is your awareness of where your body is in space, that starts to slow down as well, especially in your feet. So your balance is 3 main senses that have to work well together and be strong to give you good balance, and that's your eyes, your ears, and your feet. Okay. So those 3 senses all slow down as we age, starting at the age of 40 on up, but then we start to see a lot more significant changes over the age of 60. So 1/3 of the people over the age of 65 will fall every year. And then when you get to the age of 80, 1/2 of the people over the age of 80 fall every year. So as we age, our systems all slow down much more significantly when we get to the 60, 70, 80-year-old age range, but it starts at the age of 40 when we start to slow down. Is there anything I can do, because I'm coming up on 60, is there anything I can do preventatively to avoid being one of the increased numbers at 70 or 80?
Absolutely, and we're going to talk about, that's going to be kind of the main heart of our show today.
That's what you're going to have me out front and the
what
cameras
we can
doing.
Right. Number one, to assess if you're a fall risk, and if you are, what you can do. Or if you feel like you're starting to lose some of those balance, your balance components, what you can do to prevent a fall and prevent the slowing down of your vestibular system, your visual system, and your proprioception.
Okay. I want to start now.
Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a test. So if you're listening from home, if you have a pencil and paper.
I've got my number 2 Ticonderoga pencil available.
School has just started, so this is, if you're an adult, you can feel for your kids and your grandkids, you're going to do a standardized test here.
All right.
So this is a standardized fall risk test. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to read these questions, and you're going to either answer, put a 0 down for no, or a 2 down, or 1 or 2 for yes. I'll tell you with each question. So the first question is, I have fallen in the past year. If you answer yes, then you give yourself a score of 2. If it's no, then it's a 0. The second question is, I use or have been advised to use a cane or a walker to get around safely. If yes, put a 2. If no, put a 0.
Advised by a medical professional.
By a medical professional.
Not one of your buddies mocking.
Right.
Okay.
Next is, sometimes I feel unsteady when I'm walking. If yes, give yourself a 1. If no, give yourself a 0. Next, I steady myself by holding on to furniture when walking around in the house. If yes, give yourself a 1. If no, give yourself a 0.
I feel good that my problems have been 1s instead of 2s so far.
Next, I'm worried about falling. If yes, put a 1. If no, give a 2.
No,
Next,
give a 2?
I'm sorry, no, give a 0.
Oh, okay.
I need to push with my hands to stand up from a chair. If yes, give yourself a 1. If no, give yourself a 0. Next, I have some trouble stepping up onto a curb. If yes, give yourself a 1. If no, give yourself a 0. Next, I often have to rush to the toilet. If yes, give yourself a 1. If no, give yourself a 0. Next, I have lost some feeling in my feet. Yes, give yourself a 1.
Okay,
no,
the toilet question totally threw me.
We'll come back to each of these
okay,
again.
all right.
The next, I take medication that sometimes makes me feel lightheaded or more tired than usual. Yes, give yourself a 1. No, give yourself a 0.
Okay.
I take medicine to help me sleep or improve my mood. Yes, give yourself a 1. No, give yourself a 0. The last one is I often feel sad or depressed. Yes, give yourself a 1. No, give yourself a 0. And then you're going to total up your score, okay? And if you scored 4 points or more, then you may be at risk of falling. So if you came out with that test and you had a 0, 1, or 2, or 3, this standardized test says you're not necessarily a fall risk candidate. Now, this is just one component of our fall risk assessment,
okay.
But it's a quick thing that you can do at home to say, am I in a fall risk category? Maybe I should give Dale a call if you scored a 4 or above, because we can do, we're giving out free fall risk assessment tests this week, where you come into my clinic and we're going to do some of the tests that I'm going to show you with Eddy today. If you can watch on Facebook Live, you'll see the tests. If you're just listening, I'll describe the tests. And if you come into our clinic, we'll do these tests for free on you if you come into either our Cranberry Clinic or our clinic in Bridgewater.
How long would it take?
It's a 15-minute screen. It doesn't take much of your time at all.
Okay.
It's a very quick screen. We take a general look, and you'll see some of the tests, like I said, that we're going to do here. We'll do these tests on you in the clinic, plus a couple of additional tests to just get a general idea of what your strength and issues might be related to falls. When people come in to see me for fall risk assessments, or if they feel like they are increasing the likelihood of fall, a lot of times doctors will send patients to me because they're in the fall risk category. They've noticed some balance problems. The primary care doctor that's seen you for years has noticed that you're not walking as good as you used to walk. They'll send patients my way to do our fall risk assessment, as well as do our balance program. And we have a full balance program where we put you on computerized pieces of equipment to see if you're a fall risk or not, and also helps us to gauge where your issues are with your balance.
Is there ever a pushback? I know there's more trust. If I've seen my doctor for 20 years, I'm going to trust him more than if I just saw somebody once or twice. But if a doctor says that, how often do you hear, oh no, I'm fine?
Well, that happens quite a lot, and unfortunately what happens as your balance continues to get worse and worse, people don't end up coming to see us until they actually have a fall.
Until they are forced to admit, okay, what the doctor told me
and they
was
have
right.
fallen, or they've gotten hurt, or maybe we have to see them for a broken bone because they've fallen and they've broken something, and that's what we want to try to avoid. We want to try to prevent falls, and if you are a fall risk, we want to try to give you exercises you can do to prevent that fall from occurring. But if you have fallen, we want to prevent those falls from occurring and get you out of that fall risk category, and we can do that with our balance program.
And talk just for a little bit about what happens. You mentioned a broken bone. We've talked about it once or twice, I know. The spiral of added problems just takes off. It's not just a fall risk anymore. Now you have physical problems on top of physical problems.
It's a downward spiral, and you end up circling the drain, right?
Yeah.
You end up not being able to go back to your house anymore because you've had a fracture. You might be in pain now. You might have to go to a assisted living or skilled nursing facility. And a lot of those patients, statistically speaking, never get back to their home again. And a lot of them end up dying because of the fall that they initially had. And that's why it's such a big deal. That's why we make such a big deal about Fall Risk Awareness Week and Fall Risk Awareness Day, because we want to prevent those falls from happening. We want to get our patients and the people in our community to be out of that fall risk category and do whatever we can to make them safe in their home.
Ballpark figure, at MRS Physical Therapy, what percentage of your patients are your patients working on issues with fall risk?
Probably about 40% of our patients
Really?
are fall risk issues, balance issues. They might be part of our vertigo program. People that have dizziness, which increases the likelihood of you falling. So vertigo is when you roll in bed or you get up out of bed and you have that spinning sensation, which you can imagine if the room's spinning and you try to get up, you're more than likely going to fall if you try to walk across the room, because you just can't, you can't hold on.
Or sit down real quick and give it a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People will come to us for our vestibular program, which vertigo is a part of. Overall balance changes is a part of our vestibular program. That's when you're kind of walking down the hall and you feel like you're drifting to one side or the other. You just kind of feel a waviness sensation. You just don't feel quite normal when you're walking.
All right.
That's also a component of our post-concussion program as well, for patients that have dizziness, balance issues. But what we're talking about today is those patients that are aging into a fall risk.
Okay.
And as you age, we know statistically speaking that you're increasing your risk of falling just because of the aging process. And what we want to do is prevent, we can't prevent you from getting old,
right,
but we can prevent you from falling. We can keep you aging and independent in your home.
Dale Reckless with MRS Physical Therapy. It's Teleforum, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WNBA, 99.3, 95.7. It's also being live Facebook screen. Do you want to have me do the stupid human tricks now, or do you want to make me drag it out a little bit longer?
Did you have a question about one of the tests?
How does rushing to the toilet affect my score?
So rushing to the toilet.
That was a 1 on my score sheet, and it was a startling 1.
So rushing to the bathroom, especially at nighttime, increases your risk of falling.
Okay, so it's not something with my prostate. It's me running into a wall.
It's you. Yeah, it's you getting up in the middle of the night, not being really alert. You're rushing to the bathroom. You don't have good lighting in your house, possibly. That increases your fall risk. All those components together increase your fall risk when you're rushing to the bathroom, especially when you get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom.
Tripping over cats.
Tripping over things. And actually, that's something we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show. I have a full sheet handout that we're going to have posted onto our Facebook site at MRS Physical Therapy and Cranberry Physical Therapy that's going to give you advice for things to do around the home to decrease your fall risk as well.
You mentioned a connection to post-concussion. Holding onto the wall as you're maybe going up or down a flight of stairs.
Yeah.
Almost subconsciously, you put an arm out. What does that got to do with post-concussion? Is that damage to the vestibular system that nobody noticed, or that is just showing up?
Yeah, so it's damage to the vestibular system. And what happens, what most people recognize is they have to hold on to things. They're either, we call it furniture cruising, so you're walking around the house and you're holding on from couch to chair to support your balance.
Right.
That's an indication of a fall risk. If you're going up and down stairs and you only can do one step at a time, or you absolutely have to use the railing, that's indication of being a fall risk. And what that correlates to is one of the tests we're going to do in a little bit is being able to balance on one foot. So if you can't balance on one foot long enough, then you're going to have difficulty with any functional thing you do during your day that requires you to balance on one foot, which would be going up and down stairs. Going up and down a curb where you have nothing to hold on to is a real big deal for people. So essentially, if you go up and down a curb, you have to be able to maintain your balance on one foot to do that. And this test that we're going to do in a little bit will show you if you're more likely to have balance issues if you can't balance on one foot for long enough.
These skills are going to diminish as we age, regardless whether you have distinct balance issues or not. I'm not going to be as good going up a curb at 70 as I was at 40.
That's
naturally,
true.
correct?
That's true, and we have statistical norms as well.
Okay.
So we have expectations for what someone can do at the age of 60, 70, and 80 years old. So the test that I'm going to show you today, when we do the test, you said you're almost 60 years old, so we'll expect you to be able to meet that norm for a 60-year-old. But if you're listening at home, if you're 70 or 80 years old, I'll tell you what the statistical norm will be for your age for the test that we're going to do.
When you say statistical norm, I'm this age, so I should be able to balance on one foot for X number of seconds?
That's right, yeah. So they've studied and researched hundreds of thousands of people.
Okay.
And for someone at a certain age, you should be able to balance on one foot for a certain number of seconds. If you're not able to do that, then there's a deviation for some reason. Sometimes it's because you've had an orthopedic condition. Maybe you've had a hip replacement.
Oh, there's my excuse.
Or a knee replacement.
Cool.
Or you're in pain for some reason. Those are things we can help out with as well. Sometimes, and that's why we recommend you come in for a full comprehensive balance evaluation, because we can figure out, is this a strength issue? Is it a flexibility issue? Is it an issue with one of your three main balance senses, your eyes, your ears, or your feet? And we can distinguish those factors through our evaluation process that we do with our patients.
All right, Dale Reckless is my guest. It's MRS Physical Therapy. After the news, I'm going to try and balance on one foot, hoping to at least, and see, I'm stubborn. I don't want to get the number for a 60-year-old. I want to get the number for a 30-year-old and not get it and feel really bad about myself the rest of the day. We'll compare numbers. That's after news on Teleforum.
John Fetterman is proud of releasing a record number of felons from prison early. He said it himself, more than, quote, any administration in history. Fetterman's bragging about freeing more thugs serving life sentences than in the previous 25 years combined, making our streets less safe while violent crime is rising. Fetterman is even pushing to end life sentences for felony murder. Just listen to him talk about it.
The first way, I believe, to change it, and that is eliminating the felony murder law. Eliminating the felony murder law.
That's John Fetterman proclaiming he wants to eliminate the felony murder law, and Fetterman's proudly releasing record numbers of dangerous criminals. That's crazy, but that's far-left John Fetterman. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
It's tailgate season, and that means a visit to the Beaver Valley Auto Mall. No matter what game you're going to, no matter what food you plan on serving, it doesn't mean a thing if you don't start with a great tailgate. In honor of tailgate season, all tailgates are included for free with the purchase of any pickup truck right now at the Beaver Valley Auto Mall. They have 53 of the finest late model used pickup trucks available and ready for your tailgate party, including Chevys, Fords, Toyotas, and Dodge Rams. No matter how big of a tailgate you need, Beaver Valley Auto Mall has it, and the truck that matches it. Visit beavervalleycars.com and view the inventory anywhere, anytime. It's time to plan your tailgate party and then pick up the supplies, including a new tailgate, included for free all this month with the purchase of a pickup truck at the Beaver Valley Auto Mall, located in the parking lot of the Beaver Valley Mall.
Friendly Federal Credit Union, you got a friend.
Being part of a credit union is like being part of a team where everyone plays and, more importantly, everyone wins. This is Cindy Hiladio for Friendly Federal Credit Union. Last year, we loaned out millions of dollars to our members for all sorts of reasons, including back to school, vehicles, vacation, tuition, and many other things. That was money that many of our member owners had already put on deposit with us. Friendly Federal Credit Union enables local people to do many things by working together like a team that they could otherwise never do on their own. Why not join our team? If you need a loan, it's game time. Visit Friendly Federal Credit Union in Baden or Aliquippa. Follow us on Facebook or Twitter or click friendlyfcu.org. Member NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
Friendly Federal Credit Union, you got a friend.
It's easier than ever to connect with Pittsburgh-based Goldberg, Persky & White. With offices in Pittsburgh, Johnstown, and Weirton, the mesothelioma attorneys can easily come to you. For a free consultation, you can email GPW at info@gpwlaw.com, call 1-800-COMPLEX, or get your questions answered immediately by connecting the GPW's online chat representatives who are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at gpwlaw.com. Goldberg, Persky & White, working lawyers for working people.
Here at Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WNBA, we just love giving away prizes and making winners out of our listeners on a regular occurrence. If you'd like a complete list of the WBVP and WNBA prize contest rules, just visit beavercountyradio.com.
Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM. Along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Frank Sparks.
And good morning on this last day of summer, Wednesday, September the 21st of 2022. Today's forecast is calling for a chance of showers with a high of 83 degrees. Well, we complete Beaver County Radio with a forecast coming up for you right after we have this look at news. An Ohioville man escaped injury yesterday afternoon as a tire exploded that he was attempting to take off the rim. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano says Ohioville Assistant Police Chief Eric Kane reported that police and firefighters were dispatched to 345 Lisbon Road yesterday afternoon at 12:25 p.m. Upon arriving, they discovered that the resident was attempting to remove a tire from its frame, and the tire exploded, causing severe damage to the garage in which he was in. The resident declined medical attention for some scratches, the assistant chief reported. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano is reporting that Sheldon Jeter Jr. was not at yesterday's proceedings and remains in jail on his first-degree murder conviction for the murder of his friend Tyreek Pugh on the night of May the 15th of 2020. Two lawyers did appear yesterday before three Superior Court judges, and all that was accomplished were arguments on case law. The only issue raised was a juror in the sentencing was biased in the 2021 first-degree murder conviction. It was found that there was no bias, according to Giordano. 53-year-old Kenneth Grayson of Bridgeville pleaded guilty yesterday to a felony charge for his actions during the breach of the U.S. Capitol on January the 6th of 2021. He was charged with interfering with a law enforcement officer during a civil disorder. According to court documents, Grayson attended a rally at the Ellipse on January the 6th of 2021 and then walked towards the Capitol, where he illegally entered the grounds. He then approached the Capitol building where law enforcement officers were attempting to prevent people from entering. He entered the Capitol through the Senate wing doors and proceeded to the crypt. He also entered the rotunda area where a mob of rioters began standing in front of a row of law enforcement officers. That mob began pushing against officers to gain access to the adjoining hall. Grayson joined at the rear of this group that began pushing into the officers. While inside the Capitol, he also live streamed video on his Facebook account. He was arrested in Bridgeville on January the 26th of 2021. He's to be sentenced on December the 19th of this year. Faces a statutory maximum of 5 years in prison and potential financial penalties. A federal district court judge will determine any sentence after considering the U.S. sentencing guidelines and other statutory factors. Acting Secretary of State Liam Chapman marked National Voter Registration Day yesterday by reminding Pennsylvanians that the deadline to register to vote in the November election is October the 24th, and by visiting 3 college campuses to encourage students to register to vote. She says that it's important to make sure that young people are engaged.
It's really important that we are engaging young people in particular with the civic engagement process. You know, there are a lot of young people who are eligible to vote but still unregistered, so that's why I wanted to focus on colleges today. There's around 1.7 eligible but unregistered voters in Pennsylvania. To drill down specifically with young voters, it's hard to find that data. But one thing that we do know through third parties, Tufts Circle, for instance, they've already done some analysis on Pennsylvania, and we're lagging when it comes to voter registration from 2018. So it's really important that we are making sure that we're meeting voters where they are. So we're really trying to engage everyone, urban, rural, throughout the electorate in Pennsylvania.
Chapman discussed how to register to vote with students during her visits, some of whom will be voting for the first time in the November 8th election. That audio is courtesy of PA Commonwealth Media Services. The U.S. Federal Reserve is expected to raise its key short-term rate by a substantial 0.75 of a point for the third consecutive time. Many Fed watchers will be paying particular attention to Chairman Jerome Powell's remarks at a news conference afterward. When Powell spoke at an economic conference in Jackson Hole, Wyoming last month, he issued a blunt warning. He said the Fed's drive to curb inflation by aggressively raising interest rates would bring some pain for Americans.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
A chance of showers today with a high of 83 degrees. Showers and thunderstorms likely mainly between 8 p.m. and midnight tonight. Otherwise, mostly cloudy overnight, low down to 59 degrees. For your first day of autumn tomorrow, chance of showers and thunderstorms. High is only going to be 68 degrees. Friday, sunny, high of 64. And then Saturday, mostly sunny with a high of 69. And temperature-wise, will rebound on Sunday with a high of 75, but there is a chance of afternoon showers. Our newscast this hour is being brought to you by MRS Physical Therapy with 2 locations. One, Stone Point Landing in Bridgewater. The other, Cranberry Physical Therapy on Route 19 in Cranberry. If you'd like more information about MRS Physical Therapy, you can go online to mrsphysicaltherapy.com. That is a look at the news for now. I'm Frank Sparks, Beaver County Radio News, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and beavercountyradio.com, all presented by St. Barnabas. It's more than places, it's a purpose.
You don't have to have had an accident, suffered a sports injury, or undergone surgery to take advantage of the benefits of physical therapy from Dale Reckless at MRS Physical Therapy. At a recent live broadcast at MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater, Dale Reckless talked about treatment for the common foot pain condition, plantar fasciitis.
Plantar fasciitis is a pretty common thing, and I tell my patients, don't wait to come and get some treatment for it. The longer you wait, the more chronic it becomes, and we'll still fix it, but it'll just take longer. If you come to see me when you're first getting the symptoms, then I can take care of it a lot quicker. What I do with plantar fasciitis is we give some stretches to do. I do a lot of hands-on exercise, and then I also do an evaluation of how they walk and how they stand. They need the hands-on work that I do to help cure the plantar fasciitis.
If you need physical therapy for any reason, choose the place that your friends and neighbors do. MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater, and Cranberry Physical Therapy in Cranberry. Visit mrsphysicaltherapy.com.
Now entering our 75th year of serving Beaver County. You're listening to 99.3 FM, 95.7 FM, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. Part of the St. Barnabas Radio Network.
It is Teleforum. This is being live Facebook streamed. I'm about to be used as a demonstration dummy at the hands of my friend Dale Reckless. Dale Reckless of MRS Physical Therapy. There are people watching this.
Yep.
And there are people just listening to this. You want me seated in the chair in front of you?
Yep, so go take a seat.
And we got to do play-by-play for those not watching.
If you're watching,
I'm sitting.
You'll get a good version of it. If you're just listening, we'll describe everything we're going to do. And these are 3 different tests that I do very commonly for my balance screens for my patients that might be a fall risk. So we'll go through each one of these 3 tests. I'll explain what the purpose is and what we typically see with my patients that are having issues with their balance. So the first test is called a sit-to-stand test, a 30-second sit-to-stand test. And so if you're at home, you'll be better off sitting in a nice firm chair like a kitchen chair versus a couch or a recliner chair.
This chair
you want
is
something
firm.
with some firmness under you. You don't want the cushioning of it.
Okay.
So the sit-to-stand test is to measure your ability to come to full stand and sit back down as many times as you can in a 30-second time frame. And you should be able to do that somewhere between 10 and 14 times in 30 seconds. I think Eddie will probably have no problem with this test. When you're doing this test at home, the key is you can't use your hands to push up. Because if you remember when we did that...
Not on your knees, not anything.
No, your arms are going to be actually crisscross across your chest, hand on each shoulder crisscross. Okay? And if you remember the test that we did earlier, the written test that we did, if you have trouble getting up out of a chair, that's one of the indicators of being a fall risk.
I did have a 1 on that one.
Okay?
Yeah.
So so what we're going to do is I brought a stopwatch, and I'm just going to time you for 30 seconds. If you're doing this at home, I'll start and stop the stopwatch, and you can count how many times you come to a full stand and sit back down again. Remember, you want to be coming off of a firm chair, not a cushion couch or recliner.
Okay.
You want your feet out in front of you.
That's my next question. Because of this chair, I can put them to the side. That's cheating?
Yep. So arms
this is
across your
turning
shoulders.
into gym class, dude.
Arms
Seriously.
across your shoulders, feet out in front of you.
Yes.
And we're going to go ahead and start the time now. Time in 30
So
seconds.
I
Full
stand
stand.
up, sit down.
That's 1, 2. Eddie's going at a fast pace. 3.
I'm going to do this till I get
4,
dizzy, and then you're going to feel so bad.
5.
Okay.
6. 7.
What number gets me a
Halfway
passing
there.
grade?
8. You're almost there. 9.
Yeah.
10. You're getting a little cardio now too, right?
No, I'm getting a little knee
11.
joint pain.
12.
I'm being reminded of all the
13.
stupid stuff I did as a kid. All right.
14. Okay, that's 30 seconds. So
Okay.
you did the sit-to-stand 14 times in a 30-second time frame, which is good. So you should be able to do it between 10 and 14 times in 30 seconds. So if you did this at home and you had trouble doing it or you couldn't do it, I had a patient this week. I did this test with her. She couldn't do one. Okay, she couldn't do a single one. She could not get up out of a chair with her arms across her shoulders without pushing up.
How did you get to that point? You just start pushing up and you don't think about it and it becomes second nature?
Yeah, so a couple things are happening when you lose that ability to sit to stand. It automatically puts you in the fall risk category if you can't do 10, okay? Obviously, anything 10 or less is fall risk category. So if you did this at home and you couldn't do at least 10, then you're in the fall risk category.
Okay.
And what's happening, why that's difficult to do for a lot of people, is a lot of it's a strength issue. Typically, it's a strength issue related to their glute muscles, the muscles in the buttocks, and their quad muscles, the muscles in their thigh.
So what you're saying is I've got quality butt muscles.
If you could say
for my
that.
age.
Yeah.
Okay.
So your inability to come up to a stand means you're likely losing some strength ability to come up to a standing position. Now, some people, like I said, have orthopedic conditions that make it limited to them. They might be in pain because they have hip pain or knee pain. Like you said during the test, you started to feel a little bit of knee discomfort.
The one, 10 or 11. It's like, my knee is starting to go.
Right. So sometimes there's an orthopedic condition that's leading to that deficit, and that may or may not be indicative of a balance issue. But if you don't have any hip or knee pain and you couldn't come out of the chair once, or you couldn't come up and down out of the stand up and sit back down in more than 10 times in a 30-second time frame, then you get put into the fall risk category. Now, we don't just use one test and use that as our overall decision as far as whether you're going to be a fall risk or not. That's why we do multiple tests, and we're going to do 3 of those tests, like I said today. That's the first of 3. But we also look at your overall strength, your overall flexibility. And then both of my clinics have computerized testing machines that we put you on, and we test your ability to stand with your eyes open, your eyes closed, shifting your weight and things like that. So
how do you test that with machines? Are you using lasers to measure?
There's a force plate that you're standing on. That force plate has gauges inside of it that sense your ability to shift weight moving forward or backwards, how much your body moves, what we call your postural sway. When you have your eyes open versus your eyes closed, you should be steady on your feet. If you start to move around a whole lot when your eyes are open, or especially with your eyes closed, and we're going to test you on this today, that's indicative of being a likelihood for a fall risk.
It's a scale, but it's way more specific to weight shifting.
And way more expensive than your scale.
Way more expensive than the $90 electric thing.
So that was the first test, the
All
sit to
right.
stand test. So if you're listening at home, the sit to stand, you should be able to do that at least 10 times in a 30-second time frame. Again, really important without using your arms to push up. The next test is we're going to do from standing. So if you're trying this at home, I recommend that you get up against something that you can hold on to if you start to lose your balance. So a kitchen counter would be perfect. Someone else, a spouse, to kind of support you or spot while you're doing it. Because this next test is a single leg stance test.
Okay.
This test is difficult for a lot of people for many different reasons, but this is one of our standardized balance tests. And basically we're having you stand on one leg as long as you can. We'll do your right leg and we'll do your left leg separately. And we'll take that into account. If you have any kind of orthopedic conditions, again, like a knee issue, knee replacement, knee pain, hip replacement, hip pain, anything like that, we take that into consideration as well, whether you can or can't do this test. So if you're 50 or above, you should be able to balance on one foot for 40 seconds.
40 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to be a younger man, you want to be a 50-year-old, you got to balance on one foot for 40 seconds. Okay?
Sure, let's give her a shot.
Pick your stronger foot. Okay? Whichever side you want to do.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, so as soon as you're ready to go. So you're just standing, holding your balance on one foot. Okay, so Eddie chose his right leg, so he's balancing on his one foot as long as he can. So if you're 50 or above, you should be able to balance on one foot for 40 seconds.
I'm pretty sure my toes have dug through the bottom of my shoes and are grasping like crazy on the carpet.
If you're 60 or above, it should be 20 seconds.
Did
so
I get...
you were 16.91. Why don't we try the other foot? See what you do on the other foot.
Yeah, take the test again.
We're trying to give you the average here.
You know what?
You weren't ready yet. Go ahead.
No,
So now Eddie's going to try on his left leg.
Yeah.
So if you're 60 or above, you should be able to balance on one foot for 20 seconds.
Okay.
If you're 70 or above, you should be able to balance on one foot for 10 seconds.
Really?
So you're at least better than a 70-year-old right now, Eddie.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Dale. My ride's here. I'll hop.
All right, now you're at 20 seconds.
I'm done.
So you made 21 seconds.
I milked that last 5 seconds.
You made 21 seconds, so you're right in the average.
Thank you.
You're right in the average for a 60-year-old.
That's all I ever dreamed of.
You're almost 60, so you're right there. So remember, so a 50-year-old should be able to balance on one foot for 40 seconds, a 60-year-old for 20 seconds, a 70-year-old for 10 seconds. If you are unable to balance on one foot for 10 seconds, it automatically, no matter what your age, puts you into the fall risk. So you need to be able to balance on one foot for 10 seconds. If you had difficulty with that, balancing on one foot for 10 seconds, then you're automatically put in the fall risk category. And it's something you consider coming to see us at MRS Physical Therapy and Cranberry Physical Therapy for.
Okay.
And again, we take into account, if you had any hip or knee pain, if that's a component of it, maybe we need to work on your hip or knee pain first. But it is a component of being troublesome for your balance and puts you in fall risk. And people ask, well, why do we need to balance on one foot? It's kind of what we talked about earlier. When you go up and down stairs, you're on one foot.
Yeah.
When you go up and down a curb, you're on one foot. Okay? So it's important to be able to balance on one foot to be stable and to be good with your balance.
Okay, that was
so that was the second test.
Sometimes I pretend I'm a flamingo. It could come up.
So far, you've passed your first 2 tests, so we're happy with that, right?
In all seriousness, you know what this reminds me of? Do you remember the President's Council on Physical Fitness?
Yeah, sure.
And you'd have to do the shuttle run and
I love that test. That was fun.
Of course you did. Of course you did. Hey, let's do sit-ups as a joke. All right, shoes on, shoes off.
Okay, we'll let you keep your shoes on today.
Cool.
So what we're going to do next is we're going to have Eddie balance on foam. Okay, and remember when we started the program, we talked about your balance being 3 different components.
Right.
Your eyes, your ears, and your feet. Okay.
Okay.
So this kind of breaks down some of those 3 components to see if you're having balance problems, where the problem is. Is it in your visual field? Is it in your vestibular system, your inner ear? Is it in your feet, your proprioception? So if you are just standing up and you have trouble keeping your balance, okay, that's an issue. Okay. The next thing I do is I have my patients stand on a firm level surface on the floor and just have them close their eyes. If you're doing this at home, make sure you have something to hold on to or someone next to you. So you should be able to close your eyes and hold your balance for 30 seconds. Okay. When I have you come into my clinic, I do this part on my computerized test because my computerized plate measures your postural sway, any increased movement.
What, literally, if you can't see it, what I'm doing right now, I'm swaying back and forth just a little bit. Yeah.
So when you close your eyes, it's normal to have a little bit of an increased postural sway. My computerized system will take measurements to see if there's any indication of it being a fall risk category. But I can usually use just my visual perspective to see. Just have you close your eyes. With yourself on a flat surface and see if you're able to maintain good steady balance.
Just hands down?
Just hands down for 30 seconds. And Eddy does that rather well. No issues there at all. And if you're doing it at home, you should be able to balance with your eyes closed for 30 seconds, no problem. If you had problems for 30 seconds, you had to open your eyes because you felt like you're going to fall, that puts you again into that fall risk category. Okay, the next test is we're going to have him open his eyes and carefully step on this piece of foam that I brought in. So if you're watching on Facebook, you can see he's going to step on a piece of squishy foam.
Squishy.
And if you want to replicate this at home, just get a pillow. So just get a pillow, put it on the floor, and that replicates our piece of foam. Because what we're doing is we're now challenging your feet. So you're no longer on a firm, stable surface. You're now on a surface that's going to move on you. Okay, and that's the piece of foam or a pillow at home.
I thought if I stood on it, I'd just stand still and it'd flatten down and stop moving. It's too dense to do that.
Right.
You don't get to a bottom.
The foam that we use for testing has a specific amount of density to it. But most people have a thick enough pillow at home that they can replicate it. If one pillow is not enough, you can use 2 pillows if you have a really flat pillow. But you want your feet to be able to be moving around a little bit. You don't want to just bottom out on top of the pillow at home so you're on the floor, right? So you want something that has some density to it so it challenges you a little bit. And if you're on that piece of foam or in the pillow at home with your eyes open and that's really difficult for you, you should be able to do that 30 seconds, no problem. But if you can't do that, that puts you in the fall risk category. Okay, the next test is probably one of the hardest tests that you're going to do.
I know what you're about to say.
And it's going to be on the foam with your eyes closed. And this really challenges now your vestibular system. So this is telling us, is your vestibular system strong enough to not let you fall? Because now we take your visual field away, we take your visual component, and that's a big deal for people. A lot of us rely on our visual input to maintain our balance. We've taken away your stability at your feet because you're no longer on the firm floor surface, you're now on a piece of foam. So we've taken away that stability at your feet so that when I have you now close your eyes, it's your vestibular system that keeps you from falling over. Okay? So again, if you're at home, this is a really tricky one. You want to have something to hold on to grab onto, countertop or something like that, or have someone stand next to you so you don't actually fall during the test.
You'll catch me, right?
Sure, I'll catch you.
Sure.
This is the whole trust test,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and drop back. I'll catch you.
Corporate brotherhood training.
So when I do this test, I do stand really close to my patients because I don't want them to fall while they're in my
Well,
clinic.
good. They don't want to fall.
And this is a tough test for patients to do. A lot of tests will lose their balance during this test. So Eddy is standing on a piece of foam. At home, you can stand on a pillow. And I'm going to have you close your eyes and keep your eyes closed as long as you can. So go ahead and close your eyes. So Eddy's now kept his eyes closed. And you should be able to stand with your eyes closed on the foam, again, for a 30-second time frame. And it's normal to see a little bit of increased postural sway. So if you're watching at home, you'll see Eddy moving back and forth, side to side a little bit. And that's normal because that's just your body kind of maintaining its position. And it's not an easy test to do. His feet and ankles have to work really hard to keep him upright. But it's really his vestibular system that's keeping him from falling over. Okay? If you're trying this at home and you're falling over, that means your vestibular system slowed down to the point where we need some help and some exercises to strengthen that vestibular system up again. Okay, and Eddy, you did great. You can open your eyes and step off the foam. And you've passed 3 out of the 3 balance tests. So Eddy, you are not in the fall risk category.
That was tough.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
That one requires concentration, and you're exactly right. You're doing a whole lot of shifting with your ankles to maintain the balance.
Yeah. So most of my patients at home, or most of my patients, and if you tried this at home, might have passed the first of the 2 tests. The first test is usually one that people pass the most, but still challenging for some people. The single leg stance is really tough for people, and the balancing on the foam is really tough for people too. But what those things are indicative of is that our systems are slowing down as we age.
Okay.
Remember, it starts at the age of 40, but we really don't notice much of that slowing down to the age of 50. We start wearing glasses, but we don't necessarily recognize the vestibular system slowing down and our proprioception, our body's awareness of where it is in space, is also slowing down as well. And we usually don't recognize that till we're starting to hold on to walls. That test that I did is a great way to, to indicate, are you starting to have balance issues? Are you starting to get into that fall risk category? A lot of times it's a spouse or a significant other that's recognizing that someone else is not walking the way they normally walk, or they're having to hold on to things. That's the time that you want to give us a call at MRS Physical Therapy and Cranberry Physical Therapy to prevent that fall from happening.
Dale Reckless is my guest on Teleforum. After the break, I think he's going to have me see how many shuttle runs I can do in 30 seconds. It's Teleforum on Beaver County Radio.
At the Pirates, we're built on more than a century of tradition. Thousands of beloved players and personalities have worn the iconic P, and countless memories made at PNC Park, all because of you. Join us at PNC Park Sunday, September 25th at 1:35 for Fan Appreciation Day against the Cubs, presented by PNC. As a special thank you, we're offering $10 tickets for the remainder of the season, starting on September 25th. That's right, only $10. Get your $10 tickets today at Pirates.com.
Did you hear the big news? Somebody is celebrating their 83rd birthday. This is Andy Dangle. Oh, for heaven's sake, it's not me. It's the people I talk about all the time, Freedom United Federal Credit Union. It was right about this time of year in 1939 when a group of employees at the Freedom Oil Company pooled their financial resources to help each other.
Hey Andy, I'm a little short today. Can you pick up my lunch tab?
Well, not exactly like that, but the concept of people helping people was born. And it continues to thrive today at Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Speaking of which, let us help you. Stop in and apply for the money you need today. Loans are based on credit approval. After 83 years, the interest is still in you. Freedom United Federal Credit Union, member NCUA, equal housing lender.
The best of Beaver County is easy to discover. It's right here on your radio. Tune in Beaver County Radio or watch the best of Beaver County live on Facebook or YouTube video this and every Thursday from 11 to 11:30. The program is made possible by St. Barnabas. For over 3 years now, the show has been dedicated to shining light on the great things going on right here in your neighborhood and the people that are making it happen. This Thursday, enjoy conversation and insight from an intriguing lineup of guests who are creating excitement and having an impact right here in Beaver County. Your friends and neighbors at St. Barnabas are pleased to support the best of Beaver County. The radio broadcast will also be replayed each week from 11:30 to noon on Sundays on Beaver County Radio. Archived Best of Beaver County videos can be viewed on the WBVP WMBA Facebook page. It's your chance to encounter the best of Beaver County with host Mike Romai this Thursday starting at 11. For more information, visit beavercountyradio.com.
It's tailgate season, and that means a visit to the Beaver Valley Auto Mall. No matter what game you're going to, no matter what food you plan on serving, it doesn't mean a thing if you don't start with a great tailgate. In honor of tailgate season, all tailgates are included for free with the purchase of any pickup truck right now at the Beaver Valley Auto Mall. They have 53 of the finest late model used pickup trucks available and ready for your tailgate party, including Chevys, Fords, Toyotas, and Dodge Rams. No matter how big of a tailgate you need, Beaver Valley Auto Mall has it, and the truck that matches it. Visit beavervalleycars.com and view the inventory anywhere, anytime. It's time to plan your tailgate party and then pick up the supplies, including a new tailgate, included for free all this month with the purchase of a pickup truck at the Beaver Valley Auto Mall, located in the parking lot of the Beaver Valley Mall.
Now entering our 75th year of serving Beaver County. You're listening to 99.3 FM, 95.7 FM, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. Part of the St. Barnabas Radio Network.
It is the St. Barnabas Radio Network. St. Barnabas, it's more than places, it's a purpose. It's 9/21. That means tomorrow is 9/22. Tomorrow is the first day of fall. We've been talking about fall risk. And Dale, you proclaimed, Dale Reckless of MRS Physical Therapy has been my guest. You proclaimed, I am fall risk free.
Eddy is fall risk free.
Assuming I don't go and tie one on, I'm my daily functioning, I'm fall risk free. It's a big deal, isn't it? I'm being silly, but this is a big deal, and this is a growing deal, and this is why at MRS Physical Therapy, what did you say, 40% of your patients involve something to do with
have
fall?
some component of a balance program that they're doing with us right now. The good news is, we do these tests and we show people whether they are or are not a fall risk. But the good news is that most patients we can get out of that fall risk through our balance training program. One component of that is strengthening, one component is flexibility, one component is aerobic training, but there's very specific balance exercises in addition to all those three things that we do for our patients to get them out of the fall risk. We encourage patients to be active. Some people will go to the gym or take classes at a gym, and those are all great. But in addition to that, our balance program is very important for people to get out of that fall risk category. Like I said, your balance is your three main components, your visual input, your vestibular, your inner ear component, and your feet, your proprioception. But other things to pay attention are to your home environment. So the home environment is very important, and we actually, we're posting onto our Facebook site at MRS Physical Therapy and Cranberry Physical Therapy these helpful hints. Different areas to look at in your home include your stairs and steps, your floors, your kitchen, your bedroom, and your bathroom. And it's a list of all different things that you can look at your home to make sure your environment is safe. Because having a safe environment is an important component of being free from falling. And these little tips can help make your home environment safer for you to be around. In addition to that, I shouldn't forget about talking about footwear. What you wear on your feet is important as well for stability and to decrease your fall risk. It's something that I look at with all my patients that come in that have balance issues, what they're wearing on their feet. You want to wear a good shoe that's got good support and good stability for you. So I always look at my patients' shoes and give them an advisement for what's a good shoe and what's not a good shoe for proper footwear. So your environment's important, your shoes are important, as well as the different tests that we did today, the 3 simple tests that you could do at home. If you did not do well on one of those tests, please give us a call. We're doing free balanced fall risk screens this week at both MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater and Cranberry Physical Therapy in Cranberry. And if you want a free fall risk screen, just give us a call. The Bridgewater office in Stone Point Landing is 724-728-7550. That's MRS Physical Therapy. And then the office in Cranberry, Cranberry Physical Therapy, that's on Route 19 right next to North Park Lounge. That number is 724-591-8121. And remember, our balance starts to change at the age of 40. So even if you're in the younger age of that, your aging years, it's never too early to get started with taking a look at your strength, your flexibility, and your balance. So you can prevent things before they become an issue.
You can prevent them before they become an issue, and if they are an issue, it can be treated successfully. Don't think that, okay, I've got a balance issue, I'm stuck with this. That's what you do every day.
That's true, and prevention's always easier to do before you're actually falling. Right? So once you start falling, you're going to start coming in with bumps and bruises. You might break something, and things are always hard to fix. Not that we can't, get you back to where you were before, but it's always harder to do, and it's going to take more time to do if you've already had an injury or an event occurred. So prevention is really big. That's why we do the free fall risk screens. We want to do preventative medicine to make sure we can stop things before they become a problem. If you are falling already, though, don't hesitate to give us a call and come in. You don't need a prescription to come see us. You can come to see us, and we'll get you started with your balance program.
Is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't? We covered a lot of ground, and I'm just giddy that I passed the fall risk test. Is there anything that you wanted to let people know?
I would just tell people to check out our website at mrsphysicaltherapy.com. Has a lot of information there. Our Facebook site at MRS Physical Therapy and Cranberry Physical Therapy. This week, we're doing, every day we're posting something different regarding Fall Risk Awareness Week. So as we celebrate, I guess would be the word, Fall Risk Awareness Week. We're doing a lot of education, a lot of promotion, a lot of education for patients to be aware of how to know if they're a fall risk or not. And if they are fall risk, what you can do about it. And that's the most important thing.
Right.
If there is something you can do about it, we have a fantastic balance program at MRS Physical Therapy and Cranberry Physical Therapy that you can come to see us for to help out with your balance issues.
Dale Reckless of MRS Physical Therapy. It's always great to see you, sir.
Thank you, Eddie.
Always. Dale Reckless. It's MRS Physical Therapy. It's Teleforum on Beaver County Radio.
The best of Beaver County is easy to discover. It's right here on your radio. Tune in Beaver County Radio or watch the Best of Beaver County live on Facebook or YouTube video this and every Thursday from 11 to 11:30. The program is made possible by St. Barnabas, For over 3 years now, the show has been dedicated to shining light on the great things going on right here in your neighborhood and the people that are making it happen. This Thursday, enjoy conversation and insight from an intriguing lineup of guests who are creating excitement and having an impact right here in Beaver County. Your friends and neighbors at St. Barnabas are pleased to support the best of Beaver County. The radio broadcast will also be replayed each week from 11:30 to noon on Sundays on Beaver County Radio. Archived Best of Beaver County videos can be viewed on the WBVP WMBA Facebook page. It's your chance to encounter the best of Beaver County with host Mike Romai this Thursday starting at 11. For more information, visit beavercountyradio.com.